Welcome guys, welcome to Lennox Penny channel. If you have not subscribed, now is the time to do so. Alright, hit the like button. Alright, so let's go. Alright. So guys, let us look at this paper. I'm gonna try to go through it as quick as possible. Alright. So you guys can actually play back if anything. Alright. Number one says, which of the following instrument is more suitable for obtaining both cooking oil and water from a mixture of a mixture of the two, and that would be B, separating funnel. Number two says, which of the following statements are true about the arrangement of electrons, protons, neutrons in an atom? And one says protons and neutrons are found in the nucleus. Electrons can be found anywhere outside the nucleus. The number of protons always equal to the number of neutrons. And 4, the number of protons always equal to the number of electrons. And number 2 is 1 is correct. Protons and neutrons are found in the nucleus. And the number of protons always equal to the number of electrons. So that would be 1, 4 and 1. So that makes it B. Let's move on to 3. Which of the following compounds may be conveniently prepared by precipitation? And that is A, barium sulfate. Which of the following atom represented below by an electronic configuration will almost readily form a positive ion? And number 4 is A, the sodium only has 1 on the outer shell. Let's see if number 5 is down there. All right, I think we have to go up. Hit the like button if you have not done so. All right. In descending group 7 of the periodic table, which two of the following trends occur? 1, density of the element increases. 2, the relative atomic mass of the item of the elements decreases. 3, the melting point of the elements increase. Or 4, the reactivity of the elements increase. And that would be the density of the element increases. And 3, the melting point of the element increases. So number 5 would be A. Let's move on to number 6. Dilute sulfuric acid is classified as a strong acid because A, it produces 2 moles of hydrogen ions per mole of acid. B, requires 2 moles of sodium hydroxide for neutralization. Or C, it's almost completely ionized and is a good conductor of electricity. Or is it D, ionizes to give both hydrogen ions and sulfate ions? And that would be A, produces 2 moles of hydrogen ions per mole of acid. So number 6 is A. Let's move on to number 7. Hit the like button if you're just joining. If you have not subscribed, now is the time to do so. All right. When a saturated solution of copper 2 sulfate is cooled, crystal of copper 2 sulfate, 5 water begin to form solution. Solubility of copper 2 sulfate 5. A, increase with decrease in temperature. B, decrease with increase in temperature. C, decrease with a decrease in temperature. Or D, increases with the increase in temperature. And that is decrease with the decrease in temperature. And that would be C. So very finished. Let's move on to number 8. the arrangement of elements in the periodic table. If you give them for that type of something like this, the arrangement of elements in the periodic table is based on A, the relative atomic mass, B, the atomic number, C, the mass number, or is it D, the relative molecular mass? And that would be B, the atomic number. I'll give the typo error. These things do happen. The iron 3 sulfate reacts with aqueous potassium iodide. A brown coloration of iodine is produced. Which of the following deduction is correct? Iron 2 sulfate is reducing agent. The iron is being oxidized to iodine. Or is it 3? The iron 3 sulfate has lost electron. Or is it D? The iodine iron 1 has gained electrons. And number 9, that would be B. The iodine iron have been oxidized to iodine. So that is all right. So I'm assuming that 10 is right up here. Let's go along. All right, so everybody can see the option. Which of the following statement about sodium metal are correct? 1, it contains sodium ions and mobile electrons. 2, it contains sodium ions and mobile electrons. 3, it contains cations which repel each other. 4, it contains anions which repel each other. And that would be 1 and 3, it contains sodium ion and mobile electrons. And 3, it contains cations which repel each other. So number 10 would be A. Let's move on to 11. When aqueous silver nitrate is added to an aqueous solution of magnesium chloride, a white precipitate forms. The ionic equation for the formations of this precipitate is and that would be D. All right, so guys, let's move on to number 12. All right, in which two of the following equations are the underlying reagents acting as oxidizing agents? Definitely 1. Copper, iron, and so it will be 1 and 3. So number 12 is no. Number 12 would be B. Let's erase this. So it's not 1 and 3, it would be 1 and 4. All right, so let's move on to number 13. When crystals of potassium nitrate are dissolved in water, the temperature of the solution decreases because is A, its energy is required to break down the crystal structure of the potassium nitrate. B, heat is always absorbed when a substance dissolves. Or is C, the energy content of dissolved potassium nitrate is higher than the solid of the potassium nitrate. Or is it D, the potassium nitrate is colder than water? And that would be C, the energy of the content dissolved in potassium nitrate is higher than the solid. All right, let's move on to 14. The high melting point of an ionic compound may be due to A, the arrangement of the ions, B, large number of ions? C, attraction among ions, or is it B, the movement of ions? And that would be C, attraction among ions. Let's move on to 15. Which of the following statements about the chemical reaction is not correct? Energy is given out when bonds break and taken when bonds form. Chemical reaction involve the making and breaking of bonds. Endothermic reactions take energy from the surroundings. Exothermic reaction gives energy to the surroundings. And it's say not, and that would be A. Energy is given out when bonds break. Alright, so let's move on to number 16. Hit the like button if you're just joining. Please subscribe if you have not done so for more videos. Alright, a substance that conducts an electric current but remains chemically unchanged is A. Aqueous copper 2 sulfate, B. Copper, C. Sulfur, or is it D. Solid sodium chloride? And number 16 is copper. Let's move on to 17. I think we're gonna go up. Alright, so I'm just going over so you guys can see the options. Alright, number 17. Which of the following can exactly neutralize 20 cm of 2 mole DM sodium hydroxide? Option 1, 10 cm of 4.0 mole DM hydrochloric acid. And number 17 would be 1 and 2 only. So 17 is C. Number 18. Some calcium carbonate was reacted with excess dilute hydrochloric acid. The volume of the carbon dioxide evolved was recorded and plotted against time. Which of the following graphs represent this reaction? Let's look at the options. And that would be A. Let's move on to number 19. In which of the following processes is the fractional distillation not used? A. Refining of crude petroleum. B. Separation of methanol from a methanol water mixture. And C. Separation of chlorophyll in a leaf extract. D. Separation of liquid air into nitrogen and oxygen. All right, so we are supposed to choose the best option here. And number 19 is C. Be a type of air conditioner. Number 20, graphite can be used as a lubricant because of A. Strong attraction between hexagonal layers of carbon atoms. B. Weak attraction between hexagonal layers of carbon atoms. C. Loose electrons which can be moved through the lattice. Or is it D. Strong attraction with the hexagonal layers of carbon atoms. So where that would be B. Let's move on to 21. Which of the following sulfates are insoluble? Is it barium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, lead sulfate, or aluminum sulfate? And that would be 1 barium sulfate and lead sulfate. So that leaves us with A. All right, so let's move on to 22. The mass of an element produced in electrolysis is proportional to A, the quantity of electricity which has been passed, 2, volume of the electrolyte, mass of the electrolyte, or mass of the electrode. And number 22, let's see the options. Oh, these are the options. And that would be 1 only. Let's move on to 23. Which of the following statements best characterize a catalyst? A, it increases the activation energy of the reaction. B, it alters the quantity of the product's form. C, it is always unchanged physically at the end of the reaction. Or is it D, it is always unchanged chemically at the end of the reaction? And that would be D, it is always unchanged chemically at the end of the reaction. All right, so let's move on to 24. Hit the like button if you're just joining, guys. All right. Which of the following operation results in sublimation? A, heating of solid sodium chloride. B, cooling of oxygen gas. C, heating of ethanol. Or is it D, heating of iodine crystal? And we have a winner, heating of iodine crystals. So we are at 25 now. So far, so good. The like button now, guys, we're not deal with. Hope everybody all right. Let's move on to 25. How many neutrons and electrons does the particle have? And that's 12 neutrons and 10 electrons. So 25 would be A. Let's move on to 26. Which of the following sources of energy is the most commonly used in the world today? Is it nuclear, fossil fuels, biogas, or gas oil? And that would be B, fossil fuel. All right. Study the following. You guys need to see everything. Study the following thermochemical reaction. Which of the following methods can be used to compute the value of minus BT joules? All right. So it's easy. Energy of Z minus the energy of X and Y. Energy of X and Y minus the energy of C. Sum of the energies of X and Y. Let's look at the options. Is it 1 only, 1 and 2, 3, or 2 and 3? Let's go back up. Energy, so that's energy minus the energy of X and Y, and that is 1 only. Let's move on to 28. Which of the following processes provides evidence of support in the particulate nature of matter? Is it A, diffusion, precipitation, condensation, or is it filtration? And that would be diffusion. Number 29, sulfuric acid forms sodium salt, Na4 and sodium 2. Is it basicity? Is there 4? Is it A, 1, 2, 3, or 4? 29, that would be 2, so that's B. We're halfway there now, guys. Let's move on. A sample of substance N was placed in solution M. Which of the following diagram present the pair of experiments that would be the most suitable to determine how the concentration of M affects the rate of the reaction? Alright, so this we are at halfway stage, hit the like button. So a sample of substance N was placed in solution M. Alright. Which of the following diagram present the pair of experiment would be most suitable to determine how the concentration of M affects? And that would be A. Let's move on to 31. We're almost there. If you have made it this far, you should make it to the end. All right. Atoms of isotope X and Y have 1, same number of electrons, 2, same number of protons, and 3, different number of neutrons. I'm thinking this is the R3. I don't see an option for that. All right, so I'm gonna say that this is 2 and 3, 1, 2, and 3. Because I'm not seeing the answer there. 32. Which of the following could produce carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide as a pollutant? Is it geothermal energy, solar energy, fossil fuel, and biogas? So which of these? Definitely fossil fuel and biogas. So that leaves us with D. Let's move on to 33. At 1 atmospheric pressure, the particle moves the fastest in A, liquid at 25 degrees, gas at 25 degrees, liquid at 100 degrees, or gas at 100 degrees. And that is B, gas at 100 degrees. All right, 34. Which of the following pairs of acid is monobasic? And that would be A. All right, so let's move on to 35. Remember, I want to complete this as quick as possible. All right, what number are we? 35. All right. I don't see an option for B. All right, let's see if the answer is there. All the following gases are colorless except. I don't see an option for B. And that would be NO2. Not sure what's happening with this paper at all. All right, so let's move on to 36. Which of the following elements reacts most vigorously with 1P? AQ ions to give hydrogen gas. Aqueous ion to give hydrogen gas. Is it zinc, lead, iron, or copper? And that would be zinc. Which of the following is a weak electrolyte? Is it molten lead, aqueous ethanoic acid, dilute hydrochloric acid, or is it molten lead bromide? And that would be aqueous ethanoic acid. So that's 37 is B. Let's move on to 38. If I kind of crazy. Anybody see that paper as a stress? All right, so 30 refer to the following diagram of dilute sulfuric acid and carbon. Yes, carbon. I'm not sure what's the question. I don't see a question there. So I'm not sure what's up with this one. Oh, 30 refer. I don't see the question as yet. So we have the carbon, calcium carbonate, acid carbonate, calcium carbonate, blah blah. All right, 38 now. See what the question said. In which of the following experiment would the amount of carbon dioxide collected be greatest? Okay, so we're supposed to look at them and see which one of them would give off the most carbon dioxide. So that's acid, calcium carbonate, and see the options here. All right, I'm gonna go with 2, so that is 39. Which of the following gives an alkaline reaction with moist litmus paper? Is it ammonia, nitrogen oxide, or is it hydrogen chloride or water? And that is ammonia. So 39. Let's see if we can find 40 in this rubber. This paper is so messed up, like Ukraine war going on right now. Alright, so let's go up to 40. Which of the following aqueous solutions will produce a blue precipitate with aqueous sodium hydroxide? Is it A, calcium nitrate, iron 2 nitrate, or is it copper 2 nitrate, or aluminum nitrate? And that would be copper 2 nitrate. Alright, so we are 2/3 there. Let's go. We only have 20 more to go. If you have made it so far, congratulations. You will make it to the end. All right, so let's go. 40, which are the following? Oh, we did that already. So let's move on to 41. Which of the following statement is true? Ammonia is an acidic gas. Ammonia is soluble in water and functions as a base. Nitric acid is used as a fertilizer and as a reducing agent. D, nitric acid contains 2 replaceable hydrogen atoms. And that is ammonia is soluble in water and functions as a base. So that leaves us with B. Number 42. Ammonia is more reactive than iron, yet after a while, a piece of aluminum left exposed to the atmosphere becomes corrosion resistant, whilst a similar piece of iron continues to corrode. This is because A, the aluminum has reacted completely, B, Iron oxide form is more reactive than aluminum oxide form, or is it C? Oxide film on aluminum protects the metal from further corrosion, and the oxide film on the iron does not. Or D, iron oxide reacts with the iron below, but aluminum oxide does not react. And that is C, oxide film on aluminum protects the metal from further corrosion, but the oxide film on the iron does not. So number 42 would be C. Let's move on. I'm not seeing I'm assuming this will be 43. All right. Which of the following method is used for the extraction of metal at the top of the electrochemical series? Is it A, electrolysis of molten chloride, B, electrolysis of aqueous chloride, C, electrolysis of molten oxide, or is it D, reduction of oxide with carbon? And that would be electrolysis of molten oxide, so that would be C. Let's move on to 44. So close to the end, guys, so close. All right, so 44. Which of the following metal will not react with water under any condition? Is it magnesium, aluminum, iron, or is it copper? And that would be copper. So 44 would be D. All right. Which of the following observation would you expect to make with excess sodium hydroxide solution is added to a solution containing zinc ion? Is it A, an alkaline gas produced, B, white precipitate soluble in excess, C, white precipitate insoluble in excess, or a green precipitate insoluble in excess? And 45 is white precipitate soluble in excess. So that would be B. 46 to 7 refer to the following organic compounds: ethanol, ethane, ethanoic acid, and ethanol ethanoate. In answering item 46, a particular choice from the above may be used more than once or not at all. Each of the organic compounds undergoes addition reaction, and that would be ethane. So that is B. Let me just so that we are going to say that. All right, so let's move on to 47. Is immiscible with water and is sweet smelling, and that is D. All right, so let's move on to 48. We're gonna go up now. No. This should be 48. A compound has the following structural formula. Which of the following statements are correct? Is it? All right, so look at it, guys. Let's go down now. One, it's an alcohol. Two, it's a branch alkane. Three, can react with sodium. Is an unreactive substance. So one is correct, it's an alcohol. See what else? Sodium. Can react with sodium. All right. So that would be A is the best option here. All right, so let's move on to 49. All right, so 49 says, which of the following would you expect to form an addition polymer? That would be A. Let's move on to 50. Ethanol is not used as a beverage, fuel, lubricant, or is it a solvent? And that is lubricant. All right, let's move on to 51. In which of the following is amide linkage present? Is it polythene, nylon, starch, or terylene? And that would be nylon. Remember, guys, you want to go through this as fast as possible. 52, the equation, all right? The equation above show number represent a reaction which is classified as, is it addition, neutralization, polymerization, or is it substitution? And that would be substitution. So that would be D. Let's move on to 53. Yeast may be used in fermentation of starch to ethanol because A, it is acidic, B, it contains enzyme which act as starch, C, yeast itself produces the ethanol, D, it fixes the oxygen needed reaction from the atmosphere, and that would be B, it contains enzyme which act on starch. So that would be B. Let's move on to 54. The process by which large molecules of hydrocarbon are broken up into small molecules is it saponification, cracking, polymerization, or is it condensation? And that is cracking. Let's move on to 55. We're almost at the end, guys. Congratulations if you have made it this far. If you're not subscribed, please do so now. All right. Hold on, guys. I have to take this part. Hello. Hey. All right. Which of the following is our condensation polymers? Is it terylene, nylon, starch, polythene? All right. So it says 1 only, 1 and 4 only, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3 only, or is it 2, 3, and 4 only? All right. So let's just tick them off as we go along. So 1, terylene, 2, nylon, starch. All right, I think that's it. So that would be, let's see which option is 1, 2, and 3 only, and that is C. Which of the following substance gives a blue colorization with iodine? Is it fat, starch, protein, polyamides? And that would be starches. #57, reference to the following diagram and experiment. Glucose plus yeast, water at 37 degrees, and we have liquid over there. We just try to make you guys. The gas produced can be best identified if the X is Is it lime water? Litmus solution, bromine water, or sodium hydroxide solution? I'm going to go with A, lime water. Let's move on to 58. 58 and 59 refer to the following conversion in organic chemistry. Ether is an etheric acid ethanol, which at the following equation best represent conversion 1. And that 58 would be C. 59 now. From conversion to ethanol is heated under reflux with another compound. The name of the compound is, and that would be sodium hydroxide. Let's move on to the last and final one. Congratulations, you have made it to the very, very end. The compound propene CH3CH equals CH2 reacts with bromine to produce, and that would be E. Thank you guys so much. We have made it to the end. Do ensure that you have subscribed. I will see you guys in another video. This is Mr. Bennett. I'm out.